Today I'm gonna show you a LEGO Wild West tutorial. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here we are with my microscale canyon that is gonna introduce us to the theme of today, which is the Wild West. I recently made a build for the Rogue Olympics, a Wild West layout with only 101 parts. So I thought it would be a good idea today to show you how I build those accessories and stuff that is in that mock, and a little bit more. So let's move this out of the way and let's start from the minifigure and tell you what I built. So this is a very simple minifigure I put together. What I decided to do is to put the cape, instead of like this, the other way around, fold it on top and then on the side, so that it creates a sort of windy effect on this minifigure. Of course, we have a cowboy hat over here. This is from a video minifigure. So if you look at this from the back, it looks like the cape is flowing into the wind. For the other one, I actually wanted to match what I found on this wanted banner. So we have the same style of hat, even though the color is different, while the minifigure hat is from the recent batch of Build a Minifigure in the stores. I think it matches really well what we have in this banner. Now, I'm gonna build here on my whiteboard, but potentially if you're building something Wild West related, you might take some 10 base plates. You can even work it around with some wedges, with some tiles, and make your area as nice as you can with your parts. Now, at the back side, of course, we would like to see some canyons like we did, like I did in my micro scale. What I did for this one is I built some simple structures that are gonna be in the background. Later I will show you the picture again, and they're gonna be a sort of forced perspective. Of course, if you have a lot of parts, you can create a huge massive canyon at the back, but here of course I had to keep the parts limited. I also built a few cactus. So here we have a tiny one with just 4 parts. Of course you can make it bigger and taller. And if you put this at the back here and you take the picture from the right perspective, that will be looking like if it's at far a distance. Later I will show you again the picture. But of course you can also build regular size cactus. So here, for example, you can see inside I have a modified brick that is holding 2 plates with some slopes on the side. And if you want, you can do many different style of sort of plant life. So you can do the same thing just with plates. In this case, I'm going with sand green. You can use dark green with different kind of slopes, or you can use also regular pieces like this big bush. Maybe this color wouldn't work much in this setup, but if you have one of these in 10 or in dark 10, that will work perfectly. And also you can use these nougat stem pieces that will work very well in this setup. And I also created a sort of ball, a sort of bush with just 4 olive green small leaves tied together. So here you have already a few ideas for decoration and plant life for your Wild West setup. Other things you can add very simply, of course you can add some a little snake, for example. You can add some weapons, you can add more cowboy hats, you can even have some gold laying around and stuff like that. So these are all things that will work well in this kind of setup. Now, another thing I created is a sort of skull of some animal that sometimes you can find if you look at some concept art or movies, picture. So you will find parts of the skull of some big animals. So what I created here, I take one of these with the stars on 2 sides. I added 2 slopes so that we can create a sort of mouth, nose, a little bit long. One more slope on the top. So now you can see already it's getting longer. And then a modified brick with studs on 2 sides here, to which I added one of these horn pieces that I got from this. Of course, you can have it on both sides if you want to display just the skull, but in my build, I had the skull and then I use a sombrero on this side to add a little bit of color. Another thing you can do is you can create some animals. So we already saw the snake, but I create a very nice vulture that I'm actually really proud of. So what I did is I take this modified plate with a clip. On top of it, I added the modified brick with all the studs on the four side. I'm gonna add 2 slopes on the side for the wings of the vulture that you can regulate a little bit. Then I have a sausage piece that I'm gonna run in the hole here at the front, all the way in as much as possible. I have this beard accessory that is gonna go here around the neck. And then one yellow minifigurette is gonna be the beak of this vulture. So I think this is very, very good. And I can actually connect this on top of the wanted sign because that clip will help me to keep it there. Of course, you need to regulate and make sure it will stay up. So you need to find the right balance. Unless, of course, you're gonna connect this directly on the studs at the bottom. So I think this was a very, very good creation. I already showed you the minifigure. So here we have one and here we have the other one. Now the last thing that I wanted to add to this display was a card. So here is how I build it. This is the structure I have in the center. So I have a plate at the bottom and then modified bricks on the side. And then I added all the wooden parts on the side. Now for the top, I decided to use these cloth pieces that I'm gonna connect here and here. But if you don't want to use this, you can just brick build it with some slopes. You can create a lot of these to make a very nice structure with an interesting pattern as well. But for this one, to keep the parts down and make it also look a little bit more realistic, I decided to use these 10 cloth pieces. Now here is when it gets tricky. So what I wanted to do is to use these parts on top. So what I did is I connect this here. So this will help me to keep the cloth in place. Now it's a bit tricky to do this on camera, guys, because until when everything is connected, it is very fragile. But hopefully we can do it quickly on screen without breaking anything. This is gonna be on this side. So now we have the structure and you can see here on top, because I put a support, it will stay in position. And these are gonna run basically across. Now, because these are very, very long, I cannot connect them here. So I need to go all the way back and I run this through some wheels. So I can actually connect one wheel over here on a jumper. Let's find the right spot. And then another one here is gonna go a little bit longer on the other side. This, of course, was for the purpose of the 101 mock that I built for the Rogue Olympics. And then this we can regulate a little bit. And now you can see already it looks a little bit better. Now, of course, if you want a fully completed track with no working like this around, then I just recommend you to don't use this. You can just connect the cloth pieces and with some studs over there you can block everything. Or you can use the technique I show you with the slopes to make it all white all around. And also, of course, you can add some details. For example, you can add one or two of these at the front. If you want, you can push these to not be fully connected to make it a little bit broken down. Or you can even add more details at the back going in different direction to make the build more interesting. Now, before I close the video, I'm going to show you how I actually take the picture. So you can see here I use 2 different sheets of paper in tan and in blue. I changed the color of the light to a warmer one. And then step by step, I added all the details. And then I took the shot from a front perspective and a little bit on the lower side, a little bit in line with the minifigure. And this is the final result. If you enjoyed this build and this tutorial, I really recommend you to check out my collection of my best mock and my achievement over the last 2 years on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next video. Ciao, ciao.